Hello, everyone. Welcome to WDHT TV, and this is Off the Cuff, where the headlines come to life. And we are joined today with Najah Bazzy, who's the president and CEO of Zaman International, and she's also a hero, but CNN has actually recognized her nationally as one. She's always been our hero, but she is our CNN hero, and she is on the front lines here in the Michigan area, taking care of many individuals, especially during this challenging time. Najah, welcome to WDHT TV.
Thank you, Siham. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure and an honor to have you, and I know that you're always on the front lines. You always have your hands right on the pulse of what's going on. I know that Zaman International really focuses on marginalized women and individuals who really are in need. But I can just imagine right now what's going on there and what the need is and how you are really answering this need. So what are you seeing, and what are the challenges that you're having in this time period?
So it's been quite challenging. I'm so sorry. I just had a glitch here. Just shut this down so that you're unable to hear that. Forgive me for that.
That's
so
okay.
You know, a few things. Actually, I have a few things on my mind. The first really important thing is that I just want to say that I'm very, very proud of Zaman's leadership, because I was actually, myself and the executive team, out ahead of this 3 weeks before it actually happened. And so we were able to quickly mobilize. And I wish that I could say that that was the case,
Nationally?
Yes. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And so that causes a lot of problems. But in anticipation, I lived through the HIV AIDS epidemic in the early 80s as a nurse. And so in anticipation of a virus that we don't know much about, we jumped into action right away. We started having employee meetings right away, started strategizing, thinking about kind of worst case scenario, which is where we are now. What would it mean? And what would people really need? And then we organized ourselves around the needs of people. And we recognized that food insecurity was going to be a number one, especially if the kids were unable to go to school, and the fear and anxiety that that causes, especially for our families who are single moms raising their children under $10,000 a year. Then the second thing was to really kind of deal from a case management perspective with the anxiety and the fear that would happen as a result of this. So we mobilized and just stayed ahead of everything that we could, and became not only a frontline organization, but really an essential frontline organization, ready to go right when our governor, issued the stay in place order.
Well, I remember looking at a video and watching you work, and I thought it was really in real time. And you didn't have a mask on, and I remember commenting on that. And you had said, I think we actually were ahead of the curve planning prior to all of this happening. So I guess my question to you is, how did you, within your leadership, which I know is phenomenal, but how did you get the heads up prior to our national platform, which says, we still have time, this is not serious, it's all going to go away? So how were you able to balance that, and what were your triggers?
Part of it comes from leadership training, where you begin with the end in mind. And I think as a nurse, a critical care nurse, emergency room nurse, I'm good in the crisis and urgent quadrant. I'm really good at that. And so I just started thinking about, well, what is worst case scenario, and what is this going to look like? So in my brain, I actually mapped out worst case scenario, and then I started to adjust based on that worst case scenario. Now, I think also, I hope I'm safe saying this, I think that women have also an instinct and a gut. And I think my
intuition,
my motherly instinct, like, went into absolute high gear. And I started thinking about, how do you keep Zaman safe? How do you keep the employees safe? How do you keep the population safe? What would need to happen? What would it look like? And I had already known like 6 to 10 feet would be safe distancing. And every day that went by, I was just monitoring it very closely. We were already assigning the 6 to 10 feet distance. So at that point, we weren't wearing masks, but within a day or two of that, everyone was in masks and in gloves. And, you know, we just kept plugging away. And the good thing is that we've been able to be a thought leader in this space since everyone was kind of trying to catch up. We had already, you know, we were already ahead. So we were learning as we go, and then we were able to teach, you know, to help other nonprofits and the state and the country in general to catch up. It's very important that you stay ahead of this because we're talking about life and death.
And that's talking about staying ahead of the curve. I think you had that graph in front of you prior to our national initiative as well. So, Najah, how are you providing for the additional needs of marginalized individuals, the homeless? How are you putting those things in place and safely doing that as well?
So what we did was we immediately closed down the building, and then we went online. So 99.9% of our mission is still ongoing. So interestingly enough, we took all of the women who are our clients and those who were in classes. You've been to our center, so you know that there is 2 vocational training programs, sewing and culinary arts. We were able to take those online, make sure that all of our students had the technology that they needed, a laptop, and all of this was actually ordered beforehand. So that was able to happen. And then our students started sewing masks, cloth masks, before the cloth mask issue was even issued, which was really great. And so that was happening. And then our social workers were, we got a Ring Central number, and we were fielding all of the calls. And again, the phone calls the first, you know, week were definitely around food insecurity. And then, you know, other things started popping up. The anxiety over, you know, the house, anxiety over people who weren't sure if, you know, like if the National Guard came in, what does that really mean? And are they going to take our children? And like, there was we experienced a lot of anxiety, almost traumatic kind of anxiety. At the same time, we also started working with the public school systems because the parents were going to the public school system to get this lunch, this brown bag for the kids that, you know, had some food in it to sustain them. But we knew that that wouldn't be enough. We were blessed, very blessed, to have a partnership that happened a couple of months ago with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And through LDS Charities, we had received 2 semi-truck loads of food. And
Wow.
it was almost a miracle. We actually were able to use this food to begin our emergency food box packing. So we converted the center into an emergency food distribution center, and then started distributing to the public schools directly into the trunks of people who would drive up. And then for Zaman, we opened up in partnership with Gleaners a drive-through that people could come to the building and get food once a week as well. And then when needed, for seniors, we have people who are distributing to the seniors. For the homeless, we're working in partnership with any organization that we can to make sure that people are safe. We've had to pay some rent, hotels, things like that to help just keep people in place. So really it's come down to basic needs. That's really what it's come down to. And I've always said, if everything else at Zaman would go away, everything else, the one thing this organization must do is to continue to feed people. But here we are. And so, yeah, it's been challenging. We had to lay off 10 people. We lost $175,000 pretty immediately. But the communities have been generous. People have been donating whatever they can, $10, $20, $30, $50, $100. And we are slowly chipping away at that. It just shows the resilience of the human family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if someone was in need, in terms of families right now, even those who may not have been in need prior to the situation, what is the criteria for being able to reach out for some help?
Yeah, so to get food, there's no criteria at all. You know, we're just whoever is in need. We're not vetting because, you know, it's no one wants to go pick up a food box if they don't have to. But we are observing one of our core values. I want to share this with you, and that's dignity. So we're really making sure like these food boxes are actually healthy and that, you know, there's enough food in them for a family of 4 for a week to 2 weeks. And we've even thought about, you know, inserting menus to help people prep that kind of food or getting online to show people how to use this food the best way. So it's kind of like high protein, and that's really important to us, especially with the kids. So we're not betting. What happens is every Thursday between 12 and 2, you can drive up, stay in your car. You can drive up, you pop your trunk. The emergency food box is placed in your trunk. If you can't pop your trunk open, we put it on your trunk and then we pull you over to the side and that person gets out of their car and they put it in their car. We're making sure that we're completely safe and keeping the public safe. So everyone's in gloves and in masks, and we just had a family make us some face shields, her and her children, that are coming to us tomorrow that will help us as well. And the whole idea is to stay in place as much as you can, but stay safe. And we're practicing safety at the highest level that we can.
So, Haji Najah, within the Muslim community, Ramadan is coming up pretty soon. And I know that's a time for people to gather and to socialize and to be out quite a bit at the restaurants, given, you know, the time of fasting is from sun up to sunset, and that is going to be challenging in itself. I'm hoping that people will still, you know, conform to the safety practices that we are all trying to adhere to. But what is your advice, and what would be the information or the advice that you would give to communities that are observing Ramadan?
So I'm going to give it to myself first, because I think the best of leaders lead with their own self-discipline. And I'm not going anywhere. I will be home. We have to learn to reunite as families. And while we are social beings, this is not the time to be going out at all. And so I know it's going to be tough because Ramadan is a time for extended family. But Ramadan is also a time for self-reflection and self-discipline. So I keep telling people, if we can fast from food and discipline ourselves, we have to be able to discipline, use that same self-discipline to stay away so that we can keep people safe. And look, this is no secret. Everyone's seeing what's going on TV. But what's happening in the hospital, Siham, is actually worse than what we're seeing. And it's alarming. And I keep saying, I love my mom. She's in the hospital today, and it broke my heart that I couldn't be with her. But at the same time, it's a new kind of love. It's tough love, and everyone has to practice it. We are all responsible to each other and for each other, and there's no way around this one. The virus is going to be around for quite a while, and it's not going to end by the time Ramadan starts, and it's not going to be over when Ramadan is over. So it's a new adjustment, and we all have to be in it together.
And that was my next question. As a medical professional and someone who's been on the front lines, and again, you know, you said that intuition, and you were on it prior to, you know, the world basically paying attention to this as they should have. What is your what is your forecast in regards to where we may come up with some kind of normal vision for our, you know, continuing daily life? Is that on the horizon, or do you see that quite in the distance?
A little bit of both. I think that the way that I'm going to bring Zaman back, and the way that I'm in touch with epidemiologists, infectious disease doctors, and internal medicine physicians. So I'm taking my lead from the collective opinions of these professional people who spent their lives devoted to the science of medicine. And I think we have to listen to them. They're the experts. And you're smartest when you know what you don't know, and you listen to experts who know what you don't know. So based on what they're all telling me in these like meetings that we're having constantly, the sense is that those who are positive, that those should be the first to go back to work and help us reopen our economy and get our workplaces back up and running. Still with caution, but those should be the first to go back to work. The virus is going to peak again. And so we're not technically going to be through this until, November, December, into 2021, where we're going to see us back to the normal that we had before. But I would caution us that we have a new normal now. And the new normal is still going to require us to probably stop shaking hands in general. I mean, a lot of people could have not had the flu had we been practicing this better sense of responsibility to each other when we're sick, So I think there's going to be a change in the way we not love, but the way we socialize. I think that there will be a return back sometime in the summer. I'm thinking more mid-July, beginning of August, before people are going to be able to have weddings again and have their functions again. I've scheduled a function for Zaman on August 22nd. I'm hopeful by then that we can be together, but if not, we can't. But there's going to be a short time, and then we'll peak again. And those who have immunity will be safer. It should be okay to be out and working and all that. And those of us who haven't come in contact with the virus and who are still negative, we're going to probably need to be very, very careful.
And protect ourselves, absolutely. And I am hoping that during this month of Ramadan, that people will adhere to those guidelines and be cognizant of their own health, along with the health of others within the community. And I know, it's a wonderful pastime for them to go out and have something to eat at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and the restaurant sort of comply to that new schedule. So there is a plea out there to make sure that people are staying safe, and that those guidelines that have been pressed extremely with extreme caution, not to do that. And I hope people adhere to that.
What scares me more? What scares me more than the restaurants is the family houses, because it's easy to go be a family in your home and still all be together, because a restaurant's visible, so people are probably not going to be heading in that direction as much, but they're going to be gathering in the homes, and that's what's scaring me the most.
And I hope they don't.
I hope so too, but if we lose one person, we've lost one too many.
Exactly.
So this is the time for just acute responsibility.
Absolutely. And as the governor said, if one person had it with no symptoms and is in a crowd of individuals, we've created another epidemic. And so hopefully people would adhere to that. Haji Najah, do you have any information about how to help Zaman during this time as well, and what people can do as residents to help you help others?
Well, I want everyone to know that we're here for you. And that we've never given up on hope, and I don't want anyone to give up on hope. We will get through this as a human family. That I know for sure, and I'm confident of that. In terms of helping Zaman, if anyone is so inclined, and they can go to www.zamaninternational.org, make a small contribution to the COVID-19 response. It would be very appreciated, very helpful, and 94 cents of every dollar goes toward our programming. And so it's a good investment. Zaman is a good investment. And as you know, it means time. Zaman means time, and how we spend our time in the stewardship of others could not be more important than it is right now.
And I'm always in awe of the fact that whatever you bring into Zaman, I think 98% goes to helping those individuals. I don't know how you do it, but it is a miracle. And you're not a CNN hero for no reason here. They saw talent. You are always been Mother Teresa to me. I will continue to call you that. And as a CNN hero, you have definitely proven what one individual can do to actually change the world. And thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for helping communities across the map. I know that you're not only local, you're not only statewide, you're national, and you're also international. And so that reach has really gone out incredibly. And during a time like this, where there's so much uncertainty, it's wonderful to know that there's a Haji Najah Bazzy, who's a nurse, a humanitarian, and also a Zaman International, working to help those individuals that need it the most right now. And we have an entirely new group of individuals who may not have been in that situation before, that are finding themselves in that situation, and I believe are appreciating the help that is there for them. So thank you for that as well. And just keep doing what you can, and I hope that people will go to the website www.zamaninternational.org. Is that correct?
Yes.
And give what you can, so they can continue to help communities across the board. Thank you so much for being with us, Haji Najah, and thank you for all you do. And we will get through this together, and hopefully people will adhere your words.
Thank you so much, Siham. Thank you for all that you're doing. You keep that beautiful smile on your face, because we all need that positiveness right now.
Wow.
God protect.
Thank you, and God bless you. And together we will continue smiling, and we will get through this.
Yes.
God bless. And
Take
thank
care.
you all for joining us. And I hope that that moving forward, we can keep ourselves safe and keep each other safe. God bless.